Hi guys, hope you're good. We're now looking at Euro USD and we are on the weekly chart, as you can see. And on this particular chart we can see that the market has given us these bearish candlesticks with small bodies and long lower wicks. And what these candles tell us is that there's a lot of liquidity sitting at these points, and the market needs to head down to grab those liquidity points, as they represent money that needs to be triggered by the market at some point or another, right? So from here I'm just gonna head down to the daily chart, and let's have a look. Let's have a look. The first thing that I'm going to do in regards to the daily chart is to add my daily channel. So just bear with me guys while I do so. So here goes our daily channel, more or less. Let's have a look. And we can see that in as far as the market trend goes, we are in an upward trajectory, right? We are in an uptrend, and yeah, let's just zoom in and see exactly what it is that's happening on the market. And just remember that the last time we had spoken about this particular forex pair, we had spoken about how we have this overextended M structure over here, which has a neckline at that point, right? But in as far as the daily chart goes, we can see that the market at this point in time over here has been somewhat mixed, and there's no clear pattern at this point. Having said that, as much as we also have this overextended M structure over here, just also bear in mind that we have another M structure over here which has a neckline at that point. And we know guys by now that whenever we have these structures, ideally we want to see price break into the bottom side of that neckline and then heading back to that neckline to test it. And at this point is where we would look for potential selling opportunities, especially given that on the weekly chart we have those liquidity candlesticks at the bottom that the market needs to head to at one point or another, right? So what I'm going to do now is just add a neckline to that M structure, the most recent one that is, and I'm just going to zoom in a bit so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm referring to. Just bear with me guys. So we can say that this point over here, guys, as I said, is the neckline of this M structure over here, right? And we saw price coming back to the neckline to test it, and at this point is where we should be looking for those selling opportunities, right? However, before we sell, we just need confirmation, right? Anyway, from here what I'm going to do is head down to the H4 chart. However, before I do so, I also just want to point out that we have this candlestick over here. It is a bullish candlestick with a small body and quite a long upper wick, and it too is very much similar to those other candlesticks that are bearish, that also rather have a small body and a long lower wick, in that this one is also a liquidity candlestick, and in the future we will see the market coming up to grab that liquidity at that point, as liquidity, as I've said guys multiple times, that it represents money that needs to be triggered by the market, right? So from here, as I said, let's head down to the H4 chart. Just bear with me guys, let's bear with me. On the H4 chart, I'm just gonna start off by fixing my channel somewhat. Just bear with me guys. And just remember that for the most part, we just need to ensure that all of our drawings that we add to the charts are as close to perfection as possible. Yeah, and here we are guys. And just to recap, remember on the daily chart we spoke about how we have this M structure over here which has a neckline at that point. We saw price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline, heading up again to test it, and at this point is actually where we should have looked for potential selling opportunities, right? Anyway, let me start off by actually adding my daily channel. Let's see, how would I add my daily channel in this manner? Let's have a look. I would add my daily channel more or less in this manner. Just bear with me guys. Let's have a look. For now I would add my, sorry, this is the H4 channel rather, and I would add it in this manner more or less. And we can see that in regards to the H4 chart, the market is in a downward trajectory, right, as you guys can see. And I've said that at this point over here guys is where we would have looked for potential selling opportunities, right? However, having said all that guys, as much as I said that we have just bear with me, as much as I said that we have that M formation over here, right, the neckline being at this point, price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline, coming back to the neckline to test it, and also at this point pushing further down. As much as we have that pattern, can you guys also see that we have another formation here which is a head and shoulders pattern, with this side being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this being the right shoulder. And this adds as further confluence that we should indeed be looking for potential selling opportunities. And this particular pattern also has a neckline at this point over here. Can you guys see that? And a lot of people at this point in time have already sold at this point, as guys, whenever it comes to these head and shoulders patterns, a lot of people usually sell on this point, and then again sell when price closes below the neckline, and then they also wait for the market to head back to the neckline to test it. And at this point is where they would look for potential selling opportunities, right? So that is what the average retail trader would do, right? Nonetheless, let's keep going forward, guys. So what else do we see, guys? So guys, as much as we also, or rather as much as I'm saying that we have this pattern over here, which is a head and shoulders pattern, just also bear in mind that we have an opposing structure as well, in the form of an overextended W structure. It's an overextended W structure because this first leg is much lower than that second leg, and it has a neckline more or less at that point, guys. Can you guys see that? So what this tells us is that, as I've said, guys, we have an opposing structure, and it says that actually selling at this point is a bit risky. Why? That is because, guys, we have this overextended W structure which has a neckline at that point, and what may possibly happen is that price may push slightly up, come back to the neckline to test it, and at this point then push further up. However, having said that, just also bear in mind that we have this opposing just bear with me, we have this opposing trend line, and what may possibly also happen is that the market may actually push up only to reject at this point where we have this trend line as well as this neckline of this M structure that I spoke about. And just also bear in mind that this neckline over here is a very strong level of resistance at this point in time. And yeah, guys, that is what may possibly happen in as far as EUR USD goes, right? So what I'm gonna do now is just add a small neckline to that W structure. Let's have a look. Just bear with me, guys. So I would add my neckline more or less in this manner over here, right? There we go. Can you guys see that, right? Can you guys see that? So what I'm saying in other words is that at this point, buying or selling is a bit risky, and that is because we have two opposing structures. Number one, we have this head and shoulders pattern, and a lot of people at this point are buying or rather selling, right? Number two, we also have an opposing structure in the form of let me just go back to the H4 chart, in the form of this W structure, which has a neckline at that point, and that the market will push further back to this level to test it, only to push further up, right? So that is it, guys. And as far as my analysis goes, at this point in time, I would not be buying or selling at this level. I'd rather wait and see what the market does. Another thing that I also want to point out is that we have this candlestick over here. It is a bullish candlestick with a small body and quite a long upper wick, and it too tells us that we have a lot of liquidity sitting at that point. And just remember that that liquidity is actually money that needs to be triggered by the market. So that is it as far as my analysis goes, and as I said, I don't see any actual buying or selling opportunities. However, what I would do at this point is just wait it out and see what the market actually does next. Thanks, guys, and peace out.